Okay, so last episode of Kenobi, all 6 of them, which is weird because when you add up the time, it makes a kind of a decent length movie. But, so, my biggest issue with Obi-Wan Kenobi is it's very similar to some of the other miniseries that we've seen come out from Disney. Here's your main character. Great. Is this main character the focal point of the story? Maybe? I mean, the Mandalorian is your main focal point. Now, I watched Loki. Loki, the main focal point, was the female version of Loki, who was just the best at everything. I didn't watch Hawkeye, but a lot of people kind of went, yeah, you know, the girl who's going to become the new Hawkeye seemed to be more of a focus. The Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett spent a lot of time either in flashbacks or back to tank. Fennec Shand seemed to do the vast majority of work, but with that one, you know, the incredibly racist, misogynistic, homophobic, ever new phobic that the Star Wars fan base is, people complain that Boba Fett wasn't the focus, but people didn't really complain that much about Ming-Na that much. Probably because she's really good at what she does, and she's very believable in when she's actually doing these things. So, I say all that to do, Kenobi was actually pretty good overall. I think that Star Wars really hurt themselves with the before the show came out blitzkrieg of, oh yes, we have an incredibly racist fan base. Not to say there are not racists who probably like Star Wars. It's just, there's racists who probably enjoy everything, as well as people who use the anonymity of the internet to send death threats and all those sorts of things, because it's really easy to be a keyboard warrior. So, I think it's Reva. Interesting character. If they do a second season of Obi-Wan, which the way they ended this one would have been a fantastic way to have done season 1. You know, if this would have been, here's Obi-Wan afterwards, here he is going from where we see him, you know, leaving, going to Tatooine, to a person who's able to more better commune with the Force and become one with the Force, which up to that point, you know, it's like, well, we've got Yoda. You know, Yoda can do it, Obi-Wan can do it. We know that Yoda gets trained by Qui-Gon. We know that Qui-Gon helps train Obi-Wan. Are we going to see the process of how they go through, you know, the meditation and all that? Which would be interesting. And that was almost a full season of the Clone Wars, was Yoda becoming more powerful in the Force. And that would have been an incredibly interesting story. Instead, with the first trailer, it's like, we've got Inquisitors, we've got Darth Vader, we've got Ewan McGregor, who flat out kills it as Obi-Wan. If anything really kind of hurts this, is that when he shows up and he does his bit, he is so incredibly good as an actor that you go, man, I believe he is not playing a character. I believe he is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And everyone else feels kind of like they're playing a character. So the girl they picked to play Leia doesn't quite look 10. I mean, my daughter's 8, and my daughter looks older than this 10-year-old. Decent amount of personality. You can look, you can go, I see this as being the woman. This is the girl who becomes the woman that is Princess Leia. I can see that. The droid, fantastic marketing opportunity. You can buy it on Etsy. Yes, I do very much enjoy pitch meetings. So, very early on, it's like, well, Rev is just this. She is the best Inquisitor. Had they built her up a little bit more, it might have felt okay. Her stabbing the Grand Inquisitor. I get it from a professional wrestling standpoint. Here's a new character to make her seem important. We're going to have her, you know, defeat someone who's established. Okay. But then we find out throughout Kenobi, being stabbed and run through by a lightsaber, not fatal. Not fatal at all. And it's also probably a dumb move. It was like, oh, yeah, I was stabbed through I got run through by a lightsaber. Okay. And I survived. Huh. I'm going to kill you. How? by running my lightsaber right through you. Oh, weren't you just with a dude who I did that to and they survived? So you're taking the exact same diameter of weapon and doing a similar motion, but he survived. You think I'm not going to survive? Especially when the line is, like hate's a great motivator, anger's a great motivator, it's something like that. When you think about that, you kind of go, oh, but my backstory ties in perfectly with you, so you think I'll have the hatred for you to survive that the Grand Inquisitor had for me to survive being run through. Okay, gotcha. So there's some inherent logical gaps where it's like, no, I don't think Vader would be that dumb. And it's also great to see a much more powered Vader. This is Force Unleashed levels of Force power. That battle he had against Obi-Wan in the finale is brilliant. Oh, that's probably one of the best lightsaber fights. With the exception of my daughter constantly yelling, he's going for a 9! He's going for a 9! I've been trying to train her on basic kendo. Overall, if you were to watch Kenobi, not episodically, but in one long arc, it's actually pretty good. The problem is the way that it's broken up with here's your cliffhanger, here's your cliffhanger, here's your cliffhanger, and the fact that they kind of preceded anger within the fan base, where they're like, oh yes, we were telling the actors to be prepared for the rapid amount of racism that existed in the Star Wars universe fandom. It's like, no. A lot of the Star Wars fandom, especially ones who watched or read all of the Legends continuity, they've seen Disney kind of go, great stories, think they're cool. Yep. Yeah, it's all gone. Here's the new canon. Okay. Except when we don't want that to be canon. Wait, huh? Yeah, so if you look at the way things are set up, Rebels is still in there. And the Grand Inquisitor is a huge part of Rebels. Yeah. We're going to make you think that we killed this character, which will incite anger in you. But then we're going to be like, oh, haha, he survived. We tricked you. We made you think that we were crapping on continuity yet again, but we weren't. Instead, we were just making you angry so we could make you angry. Storytelling. But, beyond the poor job Disney did when it came to listening to fans, I thought this was actually done pretty well as a whole. If you remove the social media aspect that Disney did and them constantly punching down on people, it worked. Is it what I expected? No. Did I like the fact that we saw Obi-Wan struggle with some things? Yes, I like that. The revelations of Reva's character, I like that. That was good too. Interesting to see what she does next. Not as much. If they do Kenobi Season 2, she would be an interesting, kind of like backup character. I would put her in the same category as kind of like, watch The Mandalorian? How you have the woman who fixes the ships. Her name's escaping me. She'd be fine for something like that. Where it's like, oh, here's the major story arc, and here's bits and pieces of her peppered into it. Let Obi-Wan be the steak, and Reva could be the seasoning. Where in this one, it felt more like Reva was a primary focus, because you learn a lot about her character, and not as much about Obi-Wan. So if you just take that and kind of flip it a little bit, I think that would make a fantastic second season.